course, one of my favorite games that I don't get to play enough of is Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea. I hope in 2020 here I'll be able to fix that situation and play a lot more of it. Um, Obviously, I've been a big supporter of it. I've done videos on it. I've backed all the Kickstarters that I've been able to. It's been fantastic. All the products that have been made from the company have been great, great quality. They have their own aesthetic, and they're excellent for what Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea does. So this is going to be a video about a new adventure that's come out. It's going to be obviously not for people who are going to play it. It's going to be tons of spoilers, so don't watch this video. And as per usual. And yeah, I was excited about this Kickstarter, mainly because this is two adventures that are a little bit higher up. We're going to be talking about the first adventure here in this video, and it's called The Lost Treasure of Atlantis. And it's written by Chainsaw. And I know that him from the Northwind Adventures forums, that he's obviously very active with the game, as well as, I believe, possibly running at conventions, but I'm not sure about that. Let's go into the way that the cover looks. Here it is, and Peter Mullen did the cover for it. It's about a 64-page adventure. It smells fantastic. I don't know what printer that Jeff Talanian's using, but it smells great. It's got maps printed on the inside. That was part of the stretch goals for the Kickstarter. Really nice, thick paper, and just has a fantastic aesthetic. Once again, you know, that he's used, which just correlates great with the game. So here's the cover. It looks awesome. Huge crab, blood red water maybe. Love it. It's just great. The green colors, it just has that great pulpy look to it. This adventure is going to be set in the Crab Archipelago, which is in the northeast of Hyperborea. It's a chain of islands, and they are inhabited by Eskimo. Big fan of the Eskimo race in this game, and it'd probably be a race that I would go to when I make my characters. So they worship, this group of Eskimos worship the Crabmen, which you will find, of course, in the main rulebook. And they do not worship Zathaqua, and they punish those probably who do. But it's a neat little town that's going to start off called Kinfak, I believe it's called. Make sure I get that right. Yeah, Kinfak, which is igloos, not made out of ice, but out of stone and mud and stuff. But a nice kind of like igloo community with these elders. There's the whole town, the whole village is completely fleshed out. And I'm going to spotlight one of the places here. They got this traveler's campsite. Pretty much if you're not one of them, you get put into this little traveler's area where you'll meet a group of different type of people, including these lost Romans right here. Awesome artwork. Of course, the artwork in this book is fantastic. I've got just a little bit of some issues with it here that I'll talk about later on, but overall, the art is fantastic. It's not so much the art not being good, it's just some omissions or things that I would like to have in it. And of course, like I've said in my other videos, I'd like to have more art, but, you know, it's kind of hard to do. So, yeah, there's this traveler's campsite that the group will stay, your group will probably stay at. There's some great adventure hooks to get you there. And once again, you know, they've continued on, they always will, with the phonetically spelled names for people, and that's such a huge help, because a lot of these names are different than your normal type of basic D&D type adventures that you may play in other games, and Hyperborea obviously is unique, and so the names are unique as well. But the village is great. It's got a great look to it with this, you know, this crab and ocean animal type motif going on with it, with whale bones. And the people, the Eskimo there, they paint themselves red. They worship the Crabmen, and so they've got red paint on their bodies. Obviously, a lot of like tribal fetishes and stuff like that as they worship the Crabmen, and so that correlates well with their igloo houses and this small island that they're on, this town. This place is completely fleshed out. It's got a shaman. It's got elders. The elders have got some awesome undead with them that are pretty much their defense force should something go awry. Two ships are now docked there at the town. Both of them completely fleshed out with NPCs, and it's just it's a great thing to have just in general if you want to have an Eskimo village for any other part of your Hyperborea game. So you could use this, you know, obviously for other games, other scenarios. And I just think it's a great addition. Once again, that small little bit of adding to the world building that Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea is doing with their adventures. So there's several stories going on, several little side quest type things going on in the village that you could probably get involved in. A lot of people are got their own kind of schemes going on. Maybe they want revenge for something. There's a brother who's trying to get another brother out of a cage. There's the Thakwa worshippers, and they have been one brother has been completely ashed in his cage. He's completely into pretty much burned. But another brother is there trying to free the other one. So it just has this these little tiny little stories that are going on within it. People have their own little motives and plots and schemes, even within this little tiny town. So that's pretty cool. Other stands out are just it's just fully fleshed out. Chainsaw, which is funny I'm saying that, but I don't know the guy's real name, but he's just done a great job at making this place kind of come alive and not let any building that's named, obviously, not have a lot of real flavor and texture to it. Here is one of the first places that they're going to go to, and this adventure is very much a kind of a treasure hunting, treasure seeking type adventure, but it has a deep background involving some of my favorite aspects of not only H.P. Lovecraft but Hyperborea as well. And that involves the Migo and their technology. So that plays a huge part in it. The Crabmen, it's a great story in the beginning about the Atlanteans and the Hyperboreans and the history that they have amongst themselves. A gift that was given in this strange island that the players are going to go to, and a reactor. It has a lot of Migo technology in it, and I'll discuss that once I get to those part of the adventure. But the players are obviously going to start off on when they're going to go to an island called Crystal Point, and there they'll find this ruined temple. I'm just, like I said, I'm spotlighting some places to it, but the Crystal Point is completely fleshed out with what's on there, how it looks. You'll see that on the maps that I'll show you. But one of the first places they're going to go to is this ruined temple, and it's going to have just a neat assortment of encounters and creatures that you may not find in other adventures. They're going to be in this one. And I think it's going to help spotlight kind of the weirdness of Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea. There's a lot of automatons. There's a lot of crystal-type creatures. Un, I think they're called, is a type of creature that you'll find in the main book. And just a lot of unique type creatures that it's in there. And it's got a bunch of encounters. I'm looking through it, I was like, man, this thing's in depth when it comes to encounters. So this is one of the first places they're going to go. And again, you can see the aesthetic of how it's laid out. All pages look like this. Again, like I've said in my other review, I love the bold print for certain things that really help it stand out. Their stat blocks are fantastic, give you all the information. They may see a little bit busy, but they've got everything you need there. I love the fonts of the headers, font that's mainly used. It just looks great. And again, it just has a real kind of regalness about their adventures, that cohesion that they've done with these new printed adventures. It just looks fantastic. And this ruined temple is definitely going to introduce the players to some of the more strangeness, as they're going to go below the temple into the Black Crystal Lair. And you can see here, this is a complete, pretty much like a Migo place here, full of strange technology, crystals. The doors are crystals that kind of materialize and dematerialize. It's just going to have a really neat layout. And this is one of the first things I want to point out, is that all these rooms are technologically advanced, unique. And if you're going to run this game, you're going to have to get this adventure, I should say, you're going to have to get a really good grasp on where locations are, because this is a little bit of a busy map here, but you're going to have to really do your homework whenever you're preparing for this adventure to not get lost whenever you're telling your players, as well as just describing it, making it unique, making it different, kind of getting that otherworldly feel to it. As well as the map is, I would say, slightly complicated in a couple places when it comes to where it goes into the next area. So you can see there with the strange angled rooms, this is obviously in a bizarre place of the Migo. And one of the first pieces of art that this piece of art here just blows me away. I think it's fantastic. And this is going to be a greater demon that's trapped inside this great crystal. It's a little bit of a side adventure type thing, little side encounter that's going on in there. Very nasty, very cool interaction with this demon that's in there and the choice that your players may make. So I just wanted to kind of spotlight some encounters and some of the great art that's in it. And this piece here, just I think it looks great. You can see the handprint of the demon in the glass, just excellent. Again, you're going to come across some of those staples of the Mego, the brain cylinder, the lightning guns, and here's a great piece of art here showing you different brain cylinders. And the brains that are in there are going to be, they're going to go back to other parts of the adventure earlier on, and you're going to say, oh, this is who was in this brain canister and cylinder. It's really going to kind of have a nice cohesion with some of the people that were on the other part of the island, the other island and the town, the village, and then back here into this this strange Mego-like dungeon, if you wish. And then after that, it's going to show you a side section here, a cut section here of the kind of the maps and how they do. I believe it's Glenn Seal. He did the maps for these again. Let me just double check that. Yeah, he's done a great job. These are some absolutely fantastic maps, I believe. Just look at that aesthetic and how it looks. I love, again, the font looks awesome with it. Very well done. I love how Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea, he tells you elevations and where you're at and if something changes in elevation. But this here kind of is below the last place. We're going to go back to that. You can see here the black crystal layer. The area there, A2, you'll see, is going to link up to the lightning reactor crystal here in the B5. So there's just a little bit of layering when it comes to the maps, and understanding that's going to be very important, as it is quite deep that the adventure's going. But look how many rooms are here. Look how many are in the on the other map. This is going to be a long adventure. And each place has got their own random encounter charts and tables with unique encounters that you're going to face. But all these there, I mean, you're already looking. That's for my groups. That's going to take many sessions to get through. They're so detail oriented. So the lightning reactor complex is going to be kind of an older section of this kind of multiple layered dungeon with its own history, obviously, of what's going on there. Again, bizarre, strange, and it's getting even more stranger as it goes down. There's an area to the east of the island of Crystal Point, which has got the sea caves in it. And again, how your players approach the island, they may go into the sea caves first, they may not, they may land on one of the beaches and then explore the temple. So it's definitely not a linear adventure. It will be linear once you, just in your progression of the map, but here this is great to have a really cool, and of course you're going to deal with a lot of crustaceans, crabmen and stuff like that, and that aesthetic that comes with it. But here in these sea caves, you're going to have a lot of, obviously the rough walls and a lot of water and stuff like that. But it just looks great. I think it looks fantastic. Here we can see a great piece. This is on the back of the adventure as well. The crabmen they got their guns up against these adventurers here. I love how they've disrobed. They don't have any armor. Maybe they're carried behind them on those ropes. That's a great little addition to the piece of art. But again, this thing that's just an awesome piece. And there's going to be a little bit of a hurdle just to make sense of the whole adventure when it comes to the technology and the placements of stuff. And the adventure is going to be, if they're used to that normal type of D&D type sense, they're going to be kind of pushed on to the more strange and more weird, which I've always liked. Look at this piece of art here. This four clawed crab here. They're going to have to face that. Just another dynamite piece, full page, obviously. Love that. And then they're going to have the watery temple. This is going to be, and you can see the side section here. It's going to show the black crystal layer, lightning reactor complex, the sea caves, and then the watery temple down below. Now, one of the great things about this is that all this is submerged in water. So all the players, their characters are going to have to be able to breathe water, move around in water, obviously. So that's just going to add a new dynamic, especially I haven't used that in an adventure before. It's got the rules in there for you. Of course, the rules are in the main book, but they've put them here as well for easy reference. But that's just going to add a whole new cool dynamic, especially if your players have never done that before. So all this is underneath the water, and it just exudes just the type of strange alien type places that you're dealing with in this watery temple. Again, the aesthetic of the place, all these places are very unique as it goes down deeper. He's done a great job at relaying that. Again, you can see the elevation, how the depth goes down. I just dig it. I dig it big time. And the story involves a large, huge, pretty much like a hermit crab. A titanic crab is what it's called. And again, great piece of art here, showing you that with some of the strange ghouls that are swimming underneath the water, and they're going to have to face. So here he is. Chalak is his name. This shows you kind of the conclusion of it, the adventure. This is just a titanic crab, massive. You can see the difference in the size of the boat there. But it's got a little bit of a story that might happen after, should the crab awaken, should it not, whatever happens. So it's kind of an interesting ending there. But look at I just think that piece of art is just awesome. And it has great magical items. Here I love, of course, that they give you the art for a lot of them. That Dagger of Eyes is especially cool. And, rings that can help you swim underneath the water, breathe air underneath the water. Just fantastic. Here's that village I was telling you about, Kren Fak, where it's going to start off at. You can see the Eskimo village there. You can see the K4 is going to be the traveler's campsite, and then the 2 boats that are docked. It's a great map. I love the way the trees look. I love the way the igloos look. Looks fantastic. And then here's Crystal Point. So you can see that the island, it shows you, I love that kind of insert there, showing you where it is on the main big island, the main big map to Hyperborea. And I've got it on a huge, frame, so I can just kind of see exactly where it is. And I'm glad that they did that, obviously to help you locate it. But it's going to show you there's a lake there, Enchanted Lake, the temple. You can see off to the east, there's going to be, you see a bunch of the letters there. It's going to be the caves. And then, of course, a couple of other places that are located there on the Crystal Point. And then again, there's the back of the adventure. So let's just leave that up there so you can see the great art by Peter Mullen. Overall, the art's fantastic. I would love to have seen a couple pieces that show a little bit more just some of the inside of these maps and some of these dungeon type areas. A little bit more of kind of the landscape, the way it looks, just so I can get a little bit more of a bearing of how it looks, how I would describe it to my players. It's something that you're just going to have to really use your mind, read well the passages that show you what it looks like, and then you're going to need to really flesh that out and explain that to your players. It would have been nice to have just a couple pieces that just show the inside of those locations, showing you maybe the hallway or make some of the big entryways. The place I was telling you about where you go from one map to another, there's like a waterfall and stuff. That'd be great to have a piece of art from that. Again, this, it's not really a negative. It's just something that I wish was in there. Of course, I want lots more art. It's a big adventure. It's a full adventure. It's going to take you, like I said in the beginning, it's going to take you many sessions, I would say. I think they run this at conventions. I have no clue how they would run this at a convention with its depth of how big it is, because I think it's quite a meaty adventure. Lots of encounters, lots of stuff to maybe slow down your players for them to be intrigued by the Migo technology. They can really probably get boggled down by exploring that stuff. Heck, you could probably spend 2 sessions, I think, if you really blew it up big, just in the main village of the Eskimo village. There's so much stuff going on there, and they just don't skimp out on a lot of stuff when in these adventures. They set up people with motives, with things maybe that going on. And another thing that that Hyperborea does, it makes you interact with evil characters. If you look at their stats, their alignment, they're chaotic evil, and they're doing bad stuff. Maybe they're slavers, they're warlords, who knows what they are, pirates. And so there may be a chance where you're having to interact with some unsavory types. And I just think it's a great thing about Hyperborea, is the fact that alignment is kind of vague about what's going on with certain people and who you have to align yourself with, or where you need their help. And yes, you could be dealing with a murderer, cutthroats, who knows what. And this village has got them, and you're going to have to interact with them. And I just think that's a great element to it. I love just the visual of the red paint on the Eskimo, the warriors. I think to portray this to your players is going to be a great thing, just to kind of maybe branch out from other stuff. And then, of course, like I've said before, dealing with the Migo, a great enemy, a great foe, and of course I love them from H.P. Lovecraft's writings, and here they are spotlighted again, as well as the Crabman. So I think this is just going to be different. It's going to be a different type of adventure for some players, but normal kind of dungeon crawling, strange places, underwater section of the watery temple is going to be awesome, and then lots of loot, lots of great magical items, just really clever. A lot of stuff in here is really clever, the way that the magical items are used, or some of them are kind of cursed, a little bit evil. They require things, maybe sacrifices or something, or they may come to haunt you down the road if you take these items. But it's littered with some great magical items, a lot of loot, and tons of encounters. So, and it also has this great story that harkens back to Before the Green Death and what happened on Hyperborea if you follow the story of that, as well as dealing with Hyperboreans and Atlanteans. Two things, of course, I think that help the whole game of Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea kind of stand out with those races and their histories, as well as their technology. So just a great kind of melding of those. So again, kudos to Chainsaw. He's done a great job, and I'm very impressed. I'm going to probably do another video on the other adventure that came out part of this Kickstarter. But it retails in the back here for $26. I know that Northwind Adventures does a lot of PDF sales on DriveThruRPG. It's available there as well. I would tell you to check it out. This is it is an adventure for 4 to 6 characters of 6 to 8 level. Both these adventures are a little bit higher level, which is kind of nice to see. It kind of makes you hope that you could get up to that level, and to be able to have an adventure of this depth. That and this is not something that you're just going to be like, oh, well, I'll play this, I'll grab this. No, it's going to be something you're going to really delve into and have a deep adventure with. So there it is, The Lost Treasure of Atlantis. I hope this video has been helpful for you. I would tell you to check it out, especially if you want the things that I've said about the technology, the Migos, the Crabman, and the Eskimo type setting. It's going to be a great pickup for you. And of course, any fan of Astonishing Swordsmen, Sorcerers of Hyperborea, you probably already had this adventure. You're probably part of the Kickstarter, and that's one great thing about this game is we're all just kind of right in it and ready for the next release. So yeah, check it out. I hope you'll be happy with it if you check it out. Let me know if you ever play it, what you think about it, and I'll see you for the next video that we'll do on Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea. Thanks.